Born in 1932 and grew up then during the war years. To go back like to the early memories of war years, I think one of the first memories I would have would be at school in Belleek and seeing a map of Europe on the border after Poland was invaded, and on the map was Warsaw and a big saw cutting Poland in two. That would have been one of the early memories.
And did your teachers talk to you about what the map meant?
Not terribly much, but enough. Yeah. And then after a couple of years, then when the Americans decided to come here, the team of 4 or 5 soldiers called it at school and gave us all chewing gum and ginger snap biscuits.
That was nice.
And I presume under the table like that the master got a bottle of whiskey. We didn't see that, of course.
Yeah.
And then at home, then the early memories would have been listening to William Boyce, who was known as Lord Haw Haw. He was a native of Galway, or he was people from Galway, but he was American born, and he used to broadcast from Berlin, Germany calling. And my father got a little wireless, and he would broadcast several times.
And do you think most people listened to that?
Oh, they listened to that, certainly. And he, and at this stage, like when he was broadcasting, both Hitler and them knew about the flying boats on Lough Erne, and he talked about the swans on Lough Erne.
Oh gosh!
And this was he was referring to the flying boats. The only involvement you'd have had that would have made any difference would have been the blackout regulations. And then when you go across the other side of the river from Belleek, you're in County Donegal. There's no blackout regulations there.
You would have been, as you say, in darkness, and then just very close by there would have been lights and everything on.
Lights and everything like that.
Was that? Did people talk about that? Was that an issue?
Not really an issue. Like once rationing was imposed, like people were worried more about. Certain goods were reasonably plentiful in Northern Ireland. Certain other goods were reasonably plentiful in across the border, so there was an exchange.
It was easy for you so close to go across the border.
You got the best of both worlds. So tea was reasonably plentiful here, and it was very scarce across the border in the Free State. Whiskey would have been scarce here. It would have been reasonably plenty. There was an old lady from Tyrone whose family had a pub in Bundoran. And she used to travel by train up to Dungannon to see her family. And the poor old dear liked to keep herself warm in the winter time. She had, one of these crockery hot water bottles to keep her warm in the train. And of course she got all the sympathy of the customs and all this sort of thing. Up to Dungannon, the hot water bottle was full of whiskey. It was emptied out, it dried out, and then it was filled with tea.
Oh,
not liquid, but tea leaves. And she got back to Bundoran with it.
But when you crossed the border, you didn't have to go by train at all? You went just to hopped over the fields?
We cycled or, going to Ballyshannon. You could, butter was plentiful in there, you get butter. And,
so it barely even counted as smuggling?
Well, it was in an amateurish way,
Yeah,
but funny enough
so
that
easy. There wouldn't have been anybody customs keeping an eye on things, would there? So you could have been caught.
And then the police, the RUC here, they did customs duty in Northern Ireland as well. But funny enough, like that, the British customs were far more tolerant than the Free State guys.